Hi, welcome to my kitchen. It's Wednesday night. Wednesdays, back in the old days, used to be Prince Spaghetti Night or Prince Spaghetti Day. So, with that said, I'm going to make sauce tonight. So, this is a recipe that I use, and I'm going to show you how I make it. First, I'll go over what I have for ingredients. What I have here, I have 2 bags that I've thawed out. It says September 2019, and it says good. And I forgot why I wrote good on there, but it must be really good. And what this is this is cooked down tomatoes from last year. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tomatoes that are from the garden this year. And all I'm going to do is peel off the stems on these, and I'm going to blanch them. I have 2 onions. These are Spanish onions. I also have some Hamburg. I think this is 80-20 lean. What I have is like a humongous hamburger patty. I think it's 1 pound. I forgot. Let me measure it. I have a scale. So I'll zero that out. This is actually I don't need that. Disaster in the kitchen. Seven and a half ounce and 9 ounce. So it's about a pound. And I also have from the garden a jalapeno pepper. So this batch is going to be a little spicy. Salt, garlic powder because I don't have any fresh garlic, Italian seasoning, and fresh cracked pepper. And what I usually like to use, this is the Prince medium shells, and this is rigatoni. You can see it right there. I like my sauce or the noodles to be able to take the sauce and cover inside. Alright, you want your noodle to have the most exposure, almost like a plate or a dish, to hold your sauce. If you just get like spaghetti or linguine, it doesn't really hold the sauce on. And the way I like it is to have the sauce inside here and hold on to the ridges. There's little ridges on there. See the ridges? It's really good. But I'm just going to make the sauce for you and just show you how to do it. So easy enough. We'll come over to the stove. So I think this is a 2 or 3 quart container. I got the water warming up. Alright, so all I'm going to do is pick the stems off to begin with. So these are tomatoes from my garden. Alright, they're not from the store. And some of them are split on top. We'll cut that off later. This is what you're going to find in your garden too. You're not going to find this kind of stuff at the supermarket. but this is a real show in real life, and then this is what you have in your yard, at least my yard, and you will too. So all I'm trying to tell you is don't get discouraged if you don't have picture perfect tomatoes coming off of your plants. You don't need to, because what's inside is all the goodness. So onions, they're store-bought. They look beautiful. Look, they still got the sticker on them. And this, not to insult your intelligence, but this is for new people that are just learning how to cook. That's pretty much what my show is all about. The younger people that want to learn how to cook. So I'm going to cut off the end here. Cut off the other end. Alright, that just goes right in the sink. Don't worry about it. Cut it across that way. And then you can just peel your whole onion all the way around. If you want to get all the brown off like that, a little bit of green, that's okay. So this is going to go in my sauce. So what I want is a fine, kind of a fine. I don't want massive, big pieces. So I'm going to cut that fine. Not using my slicer. I'm just going to cut it by hand. So what I'm cutting are crossways. So you have rings. You want to have rings, just like if you're making sandwich onions. So go all the way, tomatoes. Watch this. What I'm doing is holding this down here. I have my thumb there and these fingers over there, and this finger here gauges where I put the knife. Clear and down. Well, I was doing it fine. You get towards the end, it's a little harder. Just flip it down. So that's pretty thin. Some of these are a little thick, but that's okay. That's how I'm going to cut those. Alright, so then I have the jalapeno. Cut off the end. Again, see how I'm using my finger to place the knife where I want it? Then I pull it away and cut. Whew, these onions are getting to my eyes. Then you have the center core in there. What you can do then is cut it lengthwise. We're going to go lengthwise. Cut it in half. Now, if I really, really wanted this hot, I would leave all this inside, but I don't want it super hot. So what I'm going to do is take out this inner core. Same thing, slide your thumb down one side, slide it down the other side, and then down the middle, and then the whole core part comes out like that with all the seeds. If you want it really hot, leave this in there, especially all the seeds. That's going to be hot. But I don't want it super hot. And then the same thing with these. You want fine. So again, you just going a little bit at a time. Down and forward with the knife. Alright. So that's what I'm getting. Little fine pieces. I hear the water boiling for the tomatoes. So we can jump right to that next. So this I'm going to fry in the pan with some olive oil. I forgot to tell you I was going to use olive oil, but alright. I'm not going to super chop these anymore, so that's the texture that I have right there. They're pretty good size. Oops. But that's what I'm going to go with. If you want finer or if you want thicker, it's up to you. Experiment, try different things. Alright, so my water is boiling, or just about coming to a boil. Alright, so all I'm going to do is take my tomatoes and just drop them in. And you just leave them in there until you see that the skin splits on them. Alright, so they're starting to split. All I'm going to do is shut the heat off to begin with. And then I'm going to just take one at a time. So here's what it looks like. If you can see how it's split right there. So all I'm going to do is have that there, little pan. That's for my skins. And just check this out. Just pull the skin off. Pull the skin up all the way up to where the stem area is. Okay. And then that stem area, we're just going to cut right off. Throw that in the pot too. Alright. So the skin's off of that one. Then I'm going to cut it in half. And then any of this green portion, I'm just going to diagonal cut out. Okay. So again, grab one out of the water that's already splitting. Finish peeling that off. If it's hot, just use your cutters or your getters, like Darren used to call them. Peel the skin back off of there. Actually, if you made this cut first, it would be a little easier to peel the skin back because there's going to be nothing holding it on. And it's like puree. So here, before I peel the skin off, I'm just going to cut this top part off. Alright, see how it's green right there? Throw that in. But now there's nothing holding the skin on. And it's a little easier to peel the skin off. And then finish quartering it. And then this is going right into that pan. So I'll go ahead and do the rest of them and I'll come back to you. All the quartered and eighth. On the bigger ones, I just cut them into 8 pieces. The smaller ones, just quarter them. So that's what 10 of them looks like. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat on that. So another thing that you can do is the pan that I use to blanch them with, you can also use that to cook your pasta later on. That way you're not wasting water and it's got a little bit of flavor in there. Alright, so let me just bring that up a little bit. Alright, I'm going to turn the heat on that. I'm going to put it on medium. I'm also going to put the heat on this pan here. Then I'm going to brown the onions and the beef. So for this, what I'm going to do right now is add, I'm going to go ahead and measure this just so you have an idea, or at least I have an idea. Usually I write on there what it is, but this time I just wrote the date. Alright, so that is what is that? 1 1/3 cups. Okay. Okay, that's just tomato. There's nothing else added to that. And it is good. It's sweet, but like I said, I didn't add anything to that. It was 3 different tomatoes, but 1 1/3 cups goes right in. I'm going to put 2 bags that I thawed out. These are freezer Ziploc bags. Make sure you get freezer ones. You don't want to put just regular ones in the freezer. Alright, another 1 1/3, so 2 2/3 cup of sauce to 10 tomatoes. It's not exact science. You don't have to be perfect with your measurements, but I'll give you the measurements just so you know, and you can build confidence. Get yourself your wooden spoon, and I'm just going to kind of stir that up. Get that on there. And all we're going to do is bring this to a low simmer, and we're just going to let it simmer for like an hour. So with that said, I think that's the cover. No, that's too small. It's got to be up in here. Alright, we'll put the cover on until it gets hot enough to start to boil a little bit. That's almost like a low boil. And occasionally you want to stir that so nothing burns on the bottom. Alright, so once you stir it, it stops simmering. And then it should slowly start bubbling again. Alright, so yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5, 6 now. 6 little spots where it's bubbling up. That's a simmer. And that's what you want it to do for an hour. So you occasionally stir it, but that's how you want it to be. You don't want a rapid boil, so you slowly turn the temperature down as that boiling increases. So like my knob is at 4 on the oven right here, or just under 4. So as this gets hotter and hotter, I'm going to slowly turn this down to keep this at not boiling but a simmer. So that's a simmer there when you can stir it and it stops bubbling. And you want to do that maybe every 5 minutes. So you don't want it to boil in between. You just want a couple little 4, 5, 6 spots of bubbling. See how it's already starting to bubble? So the longer you go into the hour, the more you're going to turn this dial back to keep it from boiling. That's an hour of simmering. Alright, so I hope I explained that to you good enough. I know a lot of these shows and stuff, they just tell you something. They don't show you how to do it. So I'm showing you what a simmer is and for how long and when to actually stir it and what it should look like. So if you already know all this stuff, then please feel free to fast forward through it. You always have that option of fast forwarding until you get to something that you don't know. So that's all I'm trying to show you. I'm going to lower that a little bit because it's already almost coming to a boil again. So that wasn't quite 5 minutes. So you just got to keep an eye on it. Put your timer on so you don't have to worry about it. We're already down to 54 minutes. I had it set for an hour and 5 minutes. So it's been 9 minutes. And just let it boil down and then we'll start adding seasoning. Don't add any seasoning yet. Get it to boil down and then we'll add the salt, the pepper, the garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. Then we'll do up the onions and peppers and put them in. We're like down to 4 minutes, so it's been an hour. You can see how much this is cooked down. And there's just kind of a few clumps in there, but not a lot. So that's looking really good. It's still simmering. Alright, the pan's hot here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add some olive oil. And we're going to be moving stuff around. You want a flat wooden spoon for this part, because you're going to be moving your product around here. So let me see if I can get a little bit better there. That's about as good as I can get right now. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, the pan has been brought up to heat on medium, and then I just added the oil. Okay, you don't want to add oil to a cold pan. You want to add oil to a hot pan. So it's hot right now, and you can see how it bubbles. It stays together. Then go the onions that we cut up earlier. And so where the big pieces are, where they're round, all we want to do is just separate those. Again, just separate them, push them all out, or you can just stir it with your stirring stick. But I like to just push them out. I, for one, like to get my hands on the food. Like, look at this. There's a little piece of the shell right on that onion. If I didn't have my hands in there and looking at it, I would have missed that. Alright, and if you have guests over, that's something you don't want them to have or spit out on their plate. I'm going to go back and stir this. This is cooked down a lot. The timer hasn't gone off yet, but should be about getting there. There it goes. So that's 1 hour. So that was timed pretty good. Look at that. So now we can start adding what we want in there. So what I want to put in there: salt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 grinds. And then shake off what you have. Pepper. We want to go fine. We don't need coarse one. So again, tighten this down and it's fine. Loosen it and you're going to get coarse. So you want to tighten it down for fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's like 20 quarter turns. So we got our salt and pepper in there. Alright, so while this is cooking, guess what we want to put in there? We want to put in a little bit of garlic. So I'm just going to shake a little bit of garlic in here on the onions. And I'm going to shake a little bit in here, just a sprinkle, all the way across. Then we're going to put some Italian seasoning from McCormick's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stop at 15. I'll stir that up. Alright, onions are going good. About halfway done. I'll put the jalapenos in there. So we have this boiled down for an hour. Then we add our spices in there. This will go in, and then we'll do the meat. So I'm kind of just cutting this. I'm thinking I shouldn't have left the ring so large. I should have finally chopped these onions. I don't know what the heck I was doing. Just a few minutes. They're starting to get translucent. So I'm going to let that finish cooking in here. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Alright, blend that in. Now with the heat still on, we're going to come in with the hamburger. Still at medium heat. All you're doing is you're just going to keep chopping until you get down to very small pieces. Just cutting big pieces into little pieces. So we can add a little bit of salt. 5 turns. 5 to 10 turns. And just infuse that. And just keep chopping. What I'm using is a flat blade spoon. And pretty much just chopping it. Making big pieces into little pieces. That's about the size I like it there. I like some good little clumps, but you gotta remember, based on the noodle or shell that you're gonna be putting this with, that's how you determine how much you want to chop this down. If you were to be stuffing big shells, like with ricotta cheese and stuff, you could have bigger pieces of meat. So you have to match up what your sauce is going to look like based on your pasta. So I'm liking that size right there. Keep stirring this over here. Now we're going to start wanting to taste it. I think we're going to be good. So we get a little spoon. We give it a little taste. Needs a little more salt, pepper. It needs a little more of everything. Alright, so we're going to put some more garlic in there. We're going to go ahead and throw some seasoning in there. Salt. Pepper. So what we want here is a browning that's almost brown, or to where there's no more red, very little red. Alright, so what you do is, what I like to do is now I'm going to get a different spoon. This is like a pasta spoon. I'm going to turn the heat off there and kind of lower that down. And what I'm going to do, put that right in there. But I'm not getting all the fat there. We'll fold that in. The consistency is good. I mean, I'd go with that. I think I'm just going to go another 10 minutes and let it blend it all together. And that's pretty much done. No, I'm just going to go ahead and put some salt in there. A little more garlic. And then the Italian seasoning is good. I don't need to add any more of that. I'll give that another 10 minutes and try it. But look at that. Oh, that's goodness right there. That's like perfect consistency. Alright. Talk about delicious. That's what that is. I'm telling you, man. There it is. That's really good. So cook up your pasta. Put that in there. Throw some cheese on top later on. Alright guys, so I decided to go ahead and cook up some of that rigatoni. It's just getting to be about al dente, which is just about cooked. That's good there. Go ahead and shut off the fan. So let me show you how to do this real quick. What we have is a strainer in the sink. The pan's not too hot, so pretty much just dump the water down. And then the rest is just hot. Throw that back on the stove, and what you want to do is sprinkle that with cold water. Okay? What that does is stop this from cooking. You don't want your noodles overcooked. So basically you're just rinsing it in cold water. And then go ahead and feel them. If they're cool, they're good. A little bit more. kind of move it around and shake it. If one jumps out, throw it back in. Basically, you just want to shower them over. Alright. And just run that water over. Taste one. Pretty good. Now, show's about to start. Alright, got your bowl, right? Throw some noodles on there. Alright, a little bit less than half of those. Oh boy, you know what's coming next, right? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Just coming at you hard and cold. Right? Remember what I said about the noodles? They wanted to go inside. So you want to stir it up. Let that fluid go inside the noodles. Then we got some cheese, some Asiago, fresh grated cheese. Put that on there. Alright, we gotta taste this. And you know it's gonna be good, right? So, I showed you how to make this from start to finish. So, here we go. Mmm. 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 Oh, it's so good. So good. Mmm. Mm. Really, really good. I mean, look at that. You gotta get in here. Look at this. You can see. So I got meat, cheese, and noodle. Mmm. Mmm. So good. Really good. But, okay. Mmm. That's how I make my sauce and my noodles. And I hope you learned something from this. Don't forget to comment and please subscribe and tell your friends if they want to learn how to cook like I do. and take advantage of the garden and the fruits that we have from the garden, and how to cook naturally without additives and preservatives. I'd love you to come along for the ride. So thanks, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for coming to my kitchen.